this is, along with Junior Day and our Spring Game, this event here was really important because we wanted to bridge academics with athletics and basically to bring in key decision makers, stakeholders within the academic realm to actually see what it is that we do over here. We're not just football players, right? But we wanted to do this, and we welcome you this morning. Hopefully the breakfast is great, thanks to our catering company, which is Sunday every day. Y'all can give them a round of applause while you eat. But without further ado, so we can get on schedule because we got to head to Junior Day, which is going to be in the Baby Dome here in a second. But I want to bring up our AD Anton Goff.
Good morning, everybody. As Dr. Cruz said, Anton Goff, Athletic Director. I know many of you guys, I sit on the cabinet, so the deans, I'm in there with those guys in extended cabinet. But I want to welcome you to the athletic department. If you haven't been here, welcome. Panther Room, I believe many of you have been here. First of all, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for the work that you do on campus and the work that you do with our student athletes. Whether you're dean, assistant dean, staff, all that, it all matters, right? For us, obviously we're tucked away over here, but we don't want to operate in a silo. So as Dr. Williams said, collaboration is big for us. And this is just another step in collaboration. What I do want to say is that what we do touches everything on campus, whether it's academics, housing, transportation, food, all those type of things. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody understands that we need you guys, we appreciate what you're doing for us, and we want to debunk some myths, right? And I think a lot of times when you don't have access to us, you don't understand, there may be things out on the internet or whatever, and you just think like, hey man, all they care about is football, or all they care about is athletics, but in reality, our student athletes are doing an incredible job on campus. I've been here 3 years. Every semester I've been here, our athletic department, student athletes have had a combined GPA of over a 3.0. And a lot of that is because of our coaches, a lot of that is because of you guys, professors, faculty, staff, and the support that we get from you guys. So once again, I want to thank you for that. And with that, I want to bring up our head football coach, Tremaine Jackson.
You guys hear me? Okay, I don't like holding microphones. First of all, like AD Goff said, good morning and welcome. Before we get started, I want my staff to come in here. We got a lot of people, so I'm not going to have them introduce themselves, but I do want you to see our staff. So if our staff will come in here and at least be seen, we certainly appreciate that. I will introduce the coordinators. Chris Buckner is our offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. Jackson Hadley is our special teams coordinator. Brandon Anderson is our defensive coordinator. Trent Early is our co-defensive coordinator. Dr. Williams is our GM. Where's Shay at? Shay Taylor is our assistant GM, which you need to know this. There's only 3 assistant football GM women in the country in Division I. And we happen to have one of them right here. And then a plethora of other coaches. Coach Moore is our director of football performance. He handles the guys in our weight room. And then Miss Moore is our director of academics for football, which I think she deserves a hand. All right, I'll let those guys go where we need to go for Junior Day, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys around as we continue today. Spring game tonight at 6 p.m. So I know everybody wants to run out of Prairie View at 3 o'clock on a Friday. If you ain't got nothing else to do, please, ma'am, please, sir. Please come and support our boys. We have some things that we want to touch base on, because like AD Goff said, there is a myth that coaches only care about football or the sport that they're a part of. I'm not here to speak for any other sport. Our volleyball coach, Coach Hampton's in the back. You want to know something about volleyball? I think she's one of the best in the country. She can tell you all of that. All I know is about football. And all I know is about calling that's on our lives, on my life especially, to help young men using the game of football. And so we'll touch base on that today. One, you need to know we care. We care about our players on and off the football field. It's kind of one of those things where I love football. I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. I'm Houston, Texas, from the Acres Home community, single parent home, the whole deal. My grandma raised me, and my grandmother understood that as a young growing boy, I need to be a part of something. And so she put me in football at 4 years old. So every fall, I'm 42 now. So for 38 falls, I've known exactly what I'm gonna do from August to December. It's been no question. I tried to go promote clubs at one point in my life. That didn't work out. I wanted to be the next Suge Knight. But Suge Knight played a little football and promoted clubs and music. That didn't work. It didn't work. I understood very early that there was a calling on my life and I needed to fulfill that. Here's the calling. We needed to help young Tremaine Jacksons. There was a lot of them out there. In my neighborhood, I grew up on Paul Quinn Street. And in my neighborhood, if you make it to the end of the street, we call you a gladiator. Because chances are, when you start on one end of the street, you never make it all the way to the end, which is where the exit is. And so I've been known in my neighborhood as a gladiator. We made it out. I'm the only kid from my 3rd grade class at Highland Heights to go to college. It's serious in Acres Home. It's not something that is just for fun or that you see on TV. And so we understand that football is a life-changing game, which is why our program has a mission statement simply saying that we believe football is a life-changing game. Therefore, and you know, you folks that go to church, if there's a therefore afterwards, something serious coming behind it, right? Therefore, we're gonna teach, train, and motivate our players to be leaders and positive contributors to our world using the game of football. I think there should be a blueprint that comes up behind you. Ms. Moore has some for people in here. We certainly want you to understand that we have a plan for these young people's lives. When I interviewed here, in the conversations that A.D. Goff and I had, I want you to know something. I was told by everybody in our profession not to come to Prairie View A&M. I was told not to do that. I was at Valdosta State, which is considered to be one of the top football programs in the country on any division. We were ranked number 2 in the country. We were about to go play for the national championship. And when the news leaked out that Prairie View A&M was talking to Tremaine Jackson, my phone blew up of people in our profession that look like us and don't look like us, telling me, don't go ruin your career at that place. Don't do it. And so I want to be brutally honest with you. From a football standpoint, this wasn't attractive. This wasn't it. Prairie View had so many losing years in the 90s, which people still try to hold us hostage to that. But even when Coach Frazier came in 09, it still didn't go back to championship caliber. The team we had in 24 would have beat everybody in the SWAC by 30. We were that talented. And so I left a talented football program and came to a place on a hill because I believed in the vision of Anton Goff. I believed in it. When I talked to our president, I asked her point blank, what's the problem? She said, Coach, man, I think we undisciplined. I said, well, Doc, good for you. You talking to the right guy. We'll get this thing tightened up. And I said, we're gonna win. And we're gonna win right now. And so one of the reasons why you're in here is because we care about winning, but we don't just care about winning on the field, we care about winning off the field. And so I'm gonna take a lot of time throughout this deal to brag on our babies because our guys have done a really good job and there is nobody on campus that goes through what they go through on a daily basis. We had the highest team GPA in Prairie View football history. We graduate our athletes the highest that we've ever graduated here. Everywhere we've ever been as a program, the reason why that's not a surprise to us, in the 6 years I've been a head coach and I've had that staff with me, we've always broken that record. We've always won championships on and off the field. That's not nothing new to me. That's just what we do. We've had the highest level of community service that has ever been recorded. Nobody can tell me how much more community service we've ever done here. Our guys are responsible for doing 10 hours a semester on their own, and I think we just eclipsed 1,500 hours the other day. And so we're out here, we're not just playing football. We take a lot of second chance students. Here's the Tremaine Jackson story. I went to Louisiana Monroe out of high school. I only went there because it was FBS. We went there and I got my socks beat off of me. Every single week, we lost. And then I transferred to Texas Southern. And even though I'm at Prairie View A&M, Texas Southern gave me an opportunity to finish my football and academic career. Well, I didn't graduate from Texas Southern because I knew getting into this profession, I needed to go graduate from another school. So I graduated from the University of Houston because I didn't want nobody to hold me hostage in our profession from graduating from a Texas Southern. That's not a knock, that's just what it is. That's just us learning how to play the game in the right manner. And so we teach our players that. We get a lot of guys that transfer here from whatever reason. And we'll get into how it works now. But some guys we get are on their 4th opportunity in 4 years. Some guys are on their 5th opportunity in 5 years. And so here's what we think in academia, because I've been blessed now. I'm not your average coach. I've been a part of hiring the collegiate president. We hired the 32nd president at Colorado Mesa, and I was on that committee. And so we know a little bit about shared governance and business acumen and how school is big business, and was a part of that school building a hotel on campus to generate revenue. So we've done this on both sides. We want folks to know and understand that our program is here to help everybody. Everybody. The school, the student, and everybody. So we give guys a lot of second chances. We don't want you to hold those guys hostage when you see their second chance. Might be their 4th chance. But who are you not to give somebody a chance when somebody gave us all an opportunity? I've gotten 3 or 4. And so it's in our mindset that just because a player makes a mistake, picks the wrong school, maybe even gets in some trouble, why should his life be over? The lives wasn't over when this was Alta Vista Plantation and we were trying to find our way and use education to do that. Their lives wasn't over. A lot of those people couldn't read, write. They were trying to figure it out. And so some of those guys are going to come here and figure it out in the right manner. And so it's our job to help them do that. Go to the next slide. There's another slide that says this. So I know professors and higher ed, they like your vita matters, right? Your curriculum vita, it matters. I learned that when we were interviewing presidents. Everybody has 77,000 pages of what book they might have been a part of writing. I said 2 words at this guy's funeral, this, that, the other. Everything was on the vita. So let me show you our vita. We win here. We've won everywhere we've ever been. We're the winningest staff in the state of Texas, regardless of who you like. Everything about us is winning. My daughter just walked in the room. She's 20 years old. She's a sophomore. She's a winner. All she knows is how to win. And so I always like to flex our muscle because I know how professors and administrators are, right? You flex yours. You fight for tenure. I fight for contracts, which I just broke the bank on my man right there a couple of days ago. And we're certainly grateful for him to do that. But I want you to understand who you're talking to. Because not a lot of people, when you're having conversations with people, you really don't I tell our players all the time, you never know who you're talking to. So it's important that you understand that so you can talk in the manner in which you need to be talking. So as I talk to you, as I'm fortunate to talk to high-level doctors, people with degrees that I can't spell, you're fortunate to talk to a winner. And so at the end of the day, I got no choice but to think if we put our minds together, then we can make Prairie View A&M elite, which is something that people told me couldn't happen here. They told me I'd be fired in 2 years. They told me I'd go there and ruin my career and I'd be back to being a D-line coach. I told them I'm a winner. So I don't really know I know who I am and I know whose I am. And so because of that, we're here today to engage you to make sure we work together. We talked about our blueprint where we change lives. I will say, here's what it takes to be a Division I player. We can go to that one. Our players wake up every morning at 6 a.m. So I don't know what you're doing at 6 a.m., but at 5:50 or 5:45, our guys are out here on this balcony and they're warming up to go to the weight room. When they leave there, they go to the breakfast check at 7 a.m. to 7:30. When that group gets out of breakfast check, another group is coming to the weight room. Then they go to your classes all day. At 3 o'clock, they come downstairs into our team meeting. And from 3 o'clock on for the rest of their night, we all ball. Then throughout the day, they have to find ways to get study hall hours. And on Thursdays and Fridays from 8 to 12, every one of our players on offense and defense and special teams have to meet with Ms. Moore and find the time to do that. This is stressful. This is strenuous. This is required. And so when you see the regular student, just know that ain't us. Football at Prairie A&M is no more just something my uncle told me I could do. You can't play here. You ain't at Texas. Just go on down to PV. We're strenuous with this deal, which is why we're structured, which is why you haven't heard of our players getting in no trouble, which is why you don't see the things on TV, knock on wood, where somebody's coming to cart one of our players off the field. You see Texas A&M players get pulled over in Waller County for speeding in scat packs all the time. You don't hear that about Prairie A&M football because we believe in being disciplined. We believe in the players having obedience. We believe in them having a lot of grit. And so when our guys walk into your rooms, they should look a certain way. Dr. Block had us over the other day, and there was a sign. Dr. Block put a sign. I spoke to the biology department. There was a sign of me on the picture. But one of our players, he's gonna come and get 5 extra points. He's just gonna walk in there. And here's a side note. If you gonna tell somebody to come hear me speak, and you only gonna give 5 points, shame on you. Shame. It should be 5 points on the final grade. So tell all your professors, don't give nobody 5 bonus points. That's disrespectful to me. Giving somebody 5 points to come hear me. So my man walks in, he's a transfer from UTSA, and he strolled in, he got slides on, he got his hat, do-rag, which we don't allow none of that. But in his mind, he was going to just slide in, sign the paper, and I saw him when he walked in. And when he got to the 4th step, he thought he saw a ghost. I also saw his soul leave his whole body. It's that type of deal with us. And we came back that evening and we took care of all that, Dr. Block. And that young man won't ever do that ever again. But at UTSA, he was allowed to do certain things. He's not allowed to do that here. You need to know that we have a parental style of coaching. You do what we tell you to do. We don't negotiate with children. My grandma always taught me, don't negotiate with nobody with less life experience. I'm 42. Till we get a 43-year-old on the team, I'm not going to negotiate with these guys. Our coaches don't negotiate. If they don't do what you tell them to do, then we need to know about that. All you got to do is tell Ms. Moore, hey, Ms. Moore, so-and-so came in here, and I told him to sit down, and he stood up, and I promise you, he won't have no legs. He'll always sit down. It's just kind of one of those deals. And so I want you to know their schedules, and I want you to know what we put them through, because it is different. Again, my daughter's a regular student. She works for us in football, but she don't do half the stuff that these guys do. And it's because of what our program stands for and what we put them through. What is the transfer portal? The transfer portal is a database that allows student athletes to say, I don't want to be at this institution anymore. I want to open up my time or my options to go to another university. I think there's 8,648 players currently in the transfer portal. So here's what you got to look at. There's 133 FCS schools that play the same level of football like us. There's 135 FBS schools. So whatever that number equals, it's 8,000 of those kids from those 2 levels in there. There are more student athletes in the portal than there are opportunities for them to get a scholarship. And so we are a transfer portal football program. We believe in grown folks. Some of you look like you go out and have a good time. You wouldn't go to where the 18-year-olds are. You wouldn't go to the 18-year-old lounge. You go to the 25 and up because you prestige. You got titles and letters. Y'all kill me with them letters behind your email too. I don't know what none of that means. But you would go to those places. So in our football program, it's very few 18-year-olds that are walking through the door. The August, students coming in August and making August to May the school year, that's no more because we don't take 18-year-olds. I think in this class that we just signed, we took 12 18-year-olds. We got a guy that's got to go to the prom next week because he's early enrolled. And so what you got to understand is in this transfer portal craze, January is the new August. So, some of y'all, and I say y'all because it's us, right? We all in here family. Some of us like to get, right after graduation, we like to take a breath. Woo! Made it. You ain't made it in football. Football gonna bring 70 new folks up in here. And so where you used to get the relief from, okay, I can get to Summer Bridge. Football ain't sending nobody to Summer Bridge. It's just not. It doesn't work with our schedule. And so I got to get all the football out of Joker while I can. I can't put him in Summer Bridge, which has its own program, and then make him try to find out if he can play. Because if we do bring an 18-year-old, I've got to find out what value he has right now. If I don't, he's gonna leave. If I do, and he's good, he's probably gonna leave. Because Prairie View A&M is not paying $230,000 for an outside linebacker. They're paying that at Texas A&M. Prairie View A&M is not paying $3 million for a quarterback. They're paying that at Texas Tech. And so our players, we gotta find out who they are and what they are extremely quickly. We also don't deal in 18-year-olds because they're too immature. And my contract don't allow me to get them ready for 4 years. I ain't got 4. I gotta hit this while I can. And so that's the business side of it that a lot of people probably won't tell you. How do we help that? How do we help them still graduate? We need your help with these classes. We need your help with these substitutions and articulation because we're gonna bring some guys in here with some transcripts. We're not asking anybody to take any D's. We're not asking anybody to do anything that's not possible. All we wanna be is what our neighbors at Tarleton State are. What our neighbors are at East Texas A&M are. Because when I stood on this podium January 7th, I didn't come here and say I wanted to be the best black college football team. I don't care what they're doing at Grambling. I'm not fascinated by what they do at Texas Southern. I want to be an elite FCS football program, and the elites are Tarleton State. If you really take a look at it, I'll tell you how much people copy off of us. Tarleton State, we're going there August 29th. They came here and visited in 2018, and now they have our same press box. The very same press box that they came here and saw, they have the very same one. But I don't know if we've ever been there, and if we have, I don't know if we do what they do internally. Because they find ways within the system to make things work for young people. Since I touched on the system, I've been here long enough now to where people need to stop telling me the system says. I know a lot about the system. I got white friends too. I got white friends too on boards and things of that nature that tell me exactly what can happen. And what some of your counterparts have done, just calling a spade, is we blame the system for lack of wanting to. We need everybody to come together and want to, because the ultimate goal is not for your benefit, but it's for the student benefit. We're gonna get some football out of it, but that ain't the main aim. The main aim is that they graduate and have one of these championship rings on so they can get a job. So that's the transfer portal in just a small deal. We can talk transfer portal all day long. It's the most wonderful time of the year for me. It changed, our window changed to January. So I don't know who decides when school starts, right? But whoever made that decision, they obviously didn't get with AD Golf. Because if they had got with AD Golf, they should have got with me, because I would have told them, don't know Black College start before Martin Luther King Day. That's blasphemous. I don't know who thought of that. We always get that Martin Luther King Day. We start that Tuesday. But whoever did that, you need to understand it's gonna put a lot of stress. I don't know when school's gonna start next year or years out, but it's gonna put a lot of stress on people in the administration because Texas has a lot of rules. There's TSI, there's all these other things that we have to do here, and we're not gonna not bring the players. And so if you deny 70, I got 70 more. And so it's not gonna stop. So hopefully, when we finish here today, you can get with Ms. Moore, get with us, we'll meet with anybody, and we can come up with one base solution for not just football, but all athletics. AD Golf will meet with anybody, anywhere, anytime. Because I'm gonna tell you, hey man, I told them people that you'll meet with them, I need you to go meet with them. But with the transfer portal, it's not normal. It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be a lot of transfers. Leading me into advisory. If you're an advisor, I certainly appreciate you because I think your job is extremely hard. I never would have. Being an advisor is like being an official. It's something I never want to do. You danged if you do and danged if you don't. It just kind of is what it is. And then when you do what you're supposed to do, here comes this parent calling that don't know nothing about the catalog, telling you what their kids should be in. It's terrible, right? And so I think what you really got to do, I think we have one of the best advisors in the country. I've been to 10 schools. I've never seen anybody like Ms. Moore. Never. Ms. Moore handles 115 dudes by herself. All by herself. And I don't know what the rules is, Dr. Gardner, on how she can help with registration and all that, but if there's a will, should be a way. Because this lady is dynamite in what she does. And the reason why we have all those statistics academically is because of Ms. Moore. Now, AD Golf hired well. I don't know what he did, but he put over here in football, and it's been a blessing. FAMU right now is suspended from the postseason because of APR. That ain't us. Now all we got to do is compete against 11 schools. I ain't worried about FAM. Now, I'm hoping one come out on Jackson. I saw they had a few money problems. Hopefully it happened in academics. And so we don't have those issues because of the people that we have dedicated to our students. And so advising, I hope there's a way where we can come together and create a policy and not just a practice. I don't like common practices. Oh, best practice. NCAA says best practices in a lot of things. But what is that? That's just best what I feel like doing at the time. I hope we can come up with a solid policy that can help us transition our athletes in 40, 60, 80% toward degree, because that is a really big deal. You might see it in the catalog, but it might not match where that person has come from, which starts with articulation. And whoever handles articulation, I think Mr. Stewart, I appreciate you. I know you was a part of it, Stewart. It's okay, Stewart, I'm gonna call your name out. Here's why I tell you I appreciate you. We brought in 80-something guys. And Ms. Moore and Stewart went to work on making sure that I didn't have to tell guys running off the bus that they were ineligible. That's happened to me at other places. Guy running down the tunnel about to take the field, and I got a list saying, you gotta get over here because you're ineligible. That still happens at places today. And so whatever we did to make that happen, hopefully we continue to make that happen in advising, really simply so we can make your job a lot easier. With this admissions process, I know admissions has changed. I'll be quite honest with you in football. A 3-2-5, ain't many good football players that want to come to Prairie with 3-2-5. So I'm not going to recruit a lot of high school players with 3-2-5. And so if you ever wonder why there ain't many high school football players with 3-2-5s coming through here, it's because those guys aren't very good football players. If they got a 3.25 GPA and they're a good football player, they're going to have bigger options that are paying them money. They're going to go to Texas State that's paying $80,000. They're going to go to McNeese that's paying $60,000. And so we got to make sure we understand who we are too and what we're doing internally from that mission standpoint, because I'm always going to help your transfer rate. Football, I heard that it was like a 450 transfer rate that you was trying to get. I'm going to get you there, Dr. Carter. I promise. I'll slide to you before I lie to you. We're going to get you to that point. But the high school deal, the admissions piece, it's really hurt us in football. And I know it's probably, I talked to some other head coaches, because we have a head coaches council without AD golf. So we can just, gossip. And I know it's hurt some of them too. And so we're sitting up here talking about it, but you're probably going to hear about that later on. But I've really been encouraged by our admissions process and how we go about getting these transfer guys in. Talked about progress toward degree, talked about graduation. I want to give you an example, a living example. We got a kid named Malachi Williams. Malachi Williams transferred here last summer from Northern Arizona University, or West Georgia, with Northern Arizona, then West Georgia. Malachi Williams, he transferred last spring. On the last day of spring ball, he tore his Achilles. So about like what we're going on here today, he tore his Achilles. But if you know something about an Achilles injury, it's about an 8-month injury. And he was out. So Malachi is just now getting back. Malachi has to graduate by the summer in order for him to have a chance to be eligible. Well, here's what happened. He needed 2 classes to graduate. Class wasn't offered in the spring nor the summer. So now we got to go to Rice. We got to go over here and find this over there. I just think Prairie View A&M is too elite of a university not to have a class that the guy needs to graduate. Now, here's why that's important to me. I want to show you how we feel about Malachi in football. Malachi ain't ran out the tunnel for the Panthers one time. He's not played 1 snap for us. So really, if we were transactional, why would I care about Malachi? He ain't done nothing for us. Because that's the new thing, right? Coaches are transactional. Well, Malachi Williams has done nothing for us but the right thing. He's done the right thing. I think he's an over 3.0 GPA kid. He's handled all his business. Every time he's told to be somewhere, those are students that we have to do right by. And a lot of time as grown folks, we get so much into do as I tell you to do and do what I say, not as I do. I can chill, but you can't. We need you to come on with it. We need you to exhaust all opportunities because we are on the journey to eminence. I asked the president very clearly when I interviewed here, what does eminent look like to you? She went through the whole deal. I said, oh yeah, we can do that. We can get that done from our area. I asked AD Goff, what does eminent look like to you? He echoed what the president said. And so because we're on the journey to eminence, we cannot allow our feelings to make us not get something done. We gotta find a way for our students. If we're willing to do it for a kid that ain't made 1 tackle, caught 1 ball, threw 1 pass, but we just want him to graduate, and we still today don't know if Malachi's eligible. We have to get him graduated and file a waiver to get him eligible. Well, that won't happen until July. But in our hearts as a program, it is far greater for Malachi Williams to be a Prairie View A&M alum than to be a football all-conference guy. And so that's a living example that we certainly want to give you. Here's where we need you. Go to that tower. If you're biblical, you probably know what this is. If you're not, you same on your Sunday school teacher. This is the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel has a simple story. I'm not going to give you all the scriptures. I'm like my grandma, you need to read for yourself. But in this, all these people were going to build this tower, and they were going to go all the way to heaven. They were going to build it because they spoke the same language, they did the same things, they had the same thoughts, and God didn't want them to build that tower. It was the one thing that God said, no, I don't want you to do that. And so he separated everybody by language. But in the scripture, it says if these people who speak one language can come together, then nothing is impossible. And I'll just tell you what we have a problem with that we found in the year at Prairie View A&M. Everybody wants to do their thing. Everybody want to do their thing now. We need you to do our thing. If we're on the deal to journey to eminence, then I got to be held accountable. AD got to be held accountable from the top down. We want to make sure that our program is eminent. But the only way we're going to get there is if we all decide to speak the same language. Now, if God said it, I got to go with it. I'm just telling you, hey, this ain't like me telling somebody outside on the field this. I got to go with it. And if you want to build this tower of productive people, and with elite athletics and elite academics, if we're elite athletically, they'll find out about our architecture school again. They'll find out about our biology school again. They'll find out that we're doing athletics. They'll find out all of these great things that we got because some of your programs don't get the TV coverage that we get. Some of your programs don't get the exposure anymore that we get. Before we got here, nobody came to see us from a news media standpoint. Nobody. But if we can put our students on podiums and they can talk about their degrees, their professors, and the things that made them choose Prairie View A&M, then we'll be far beyond 10,100. We'll be at 15 with nowhere to put them. We'll be renting out Motel 6s all down 290. Just is what it is. But we won't get to that point as long as we keep speaking different languages across the university. We have to come together. It's the minority black folks issue. We got to come together. And we got to stop thinking that he want this and he want that. We want what you want, which is successful people being run out of Prairie View A&M. That's what we want. Again, they told me not to come. So if I had to listen, then I wouldn't be here. You'd be talking to somebody else. But I came because I know what's here. I brought these coaches because they know what's here. And it's of the utmost importance that we get that done. I want to open it up for questions that you might have for me. AD Golf is available just before we get out of here. Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name and where you work. Anybody else? All right, couple thank yous. I want to thank Ms. Gloria Robertson. Dr. Vital right here. Without those two, we would have been able to get all you together. Y'all wouldn't have respected no email from me. Y'all respect their email, so I appreciate you. Ms. Moore and her staff. Dr. Williams and Shay Taylor for putting this. Give me a hand. I have all these ideas and I just tell them and they make it work, right? So it's a sign that we have certainly good people. And then again, I can't thank AD Golf enough for having us here. So, we got trophies. We got a ring. The players get their rings tonight. After tonight, last year's is over with. You see one of our players ain't got his ring on, you need to slap his hand. We don't wear that anymore. We're not the defending champs. We're the people on the chase for a championship. And I think so many times people that were successful think that they will be successful, which is why they end up not being successful. And so we tell them all the time, just because you were don't mean you will be. Just because you weren't don't mean you can't be. It's all about what you do and the obligation that you have to be better each and every day. And so these guys, I'm excited for them. We got a lot of players coming back. But this ain't the last trophy you're going to see up in here. We're going to start stacking trophies. But let me show you something real quick. We'll talk about vision, right? When we built this building 10 years ago, you see how tall this trophy is? It won't fit in the trophy cases. Don't fit. And I believe that's because there was no vision of even getting one of these. And so when you have vision, you'll build it. You'll build it and you'll find out, you'll go to no end to find out how tall it's gonna be. That's why the 09 trophy is sitting out there. They had an example and they still didn't believe it. And so now the trophy sits in my office. But don't worry, we're gonna give it AD Go. We're gonna get some big trophy cases around here. Because we believe that this is normal. This is normal. People think we're a one-hit wonder. We're not. We're here to be consistent champions. And we'll do that, and with your help, we'll be one of the most elite universities in the country. They won't just go to A&M to saw the horns off. They'll come right